Call all hands to man the capstan, see the cable running clear, heave away and with a will, boys, to New England we will steer.
Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and today I will be talking about Peter Nichols' Oil and Ice, a story of Arctic disaster and the rise and fall of America's last whaling dynasty. I read it on my Kindle here. And this was originally called A Final Voyage, which is what I originally looked for it under, and cannot find it. But it was there at some point. I'm going to be driving, but really my car is going to be driving. And I'm going to talk about this book because I should have read this book. I think I should have read this book quickly. It was a very good book. It wasn't what I expected, and I got sidetracked a lot by other books that came out. No reflection on this book at all. It's really just there are other books that came out, and I wanted to get on those books as soon as they came out, and that meant that I kept putting down this book. There are kids driving around with their bikes where there are cars. Don't do that, kids. That's stupid. So, what is this book about? I thought this book was going to be about the 1871 whaling fleet disaster in the Arctic, and that's why I read it when I did. But this was not that. This was not only that. What this was a really a very detailed look at the whaling industry until this is the original whaling industry until it's collapsed. It was very interesting because it didn't just talk about whaling itself. It also talked about the settling of New England, especially really focused on New Bedford, Massachusetts, where I have been, and I loved it, the whaling museum. And it also focused a lot on Quakers, which were really the driving force behind whaling, the whaling industry for hundreds of years. So you got a really good look at not only Quakerism and the settling of New Bedford, kind of Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, just New England in general, and the growth of whaling. But you also got this really interesting look at how, what is going on here? I cannot tell. Police cars. I don't know. A state trooper pulled somebody over. Huh. That's weird. Anyway, so it's a very interesting look at what happened with whaling, all the way from the beginning of whaling and why Quakers were uniquely set to kind of run whaling and establish Nantucket and New Bedford as the kind of the capitals of whaling, but also the decline and what became of New Bedford after whaling started to falter, and the rise of textiles. But they go into kind of petroleum and how petroleum becomes the substitute and really starts taking over for whale oil. Although there were other uses of whale bones, which is really, whale bone was the baleen, and it was used in corsets and other fashion items. So I really enjoy this book. I just wish I would have read it all at once. And that's not the book's fault. But it was not what I thought it was going to be. And It does cover some of that whaling disaster from 1871, but it wasn't a huge disaster. I mean, it was a disaster for the ships, but not for the people. And this wasn't the end of whaling. There was still more whaling going on for 20, 30, 40 years in the U.S. So it's really just the signal of the decline. And that disaster took out a lot of the whaling ships that were left that made it through the Civil War and made it through some of the big changes. And in the end, you just had all these whaling boats rotting at the docks in New Bedford as textile mills kind of took over, and eventually textiles would also, that industry would collapse. But I really liked it, and I'm sorry this took so long to film this. Obviously, it took so long that I decided to just do it in the car, because I could definitely see this being a video that I just keep missing. So I gave it, I think, 5 stars, 4 or 5 stars. Really liked it. Another great whaling history. And yeah, so thanks for being here today on my ride home, and I hope you are doing well, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.